Good morning. Okay, good morning. Thank you for being here with us today. I am grateful to be joined this morning by Mayor Higgin and Minister Neudorf, the MLA for Calgary East. As you know,
sorry, Lethbridge East.
Lethbridge East. What did I say?
Calgary East.
Lethbridge East. Where are you, Rick? Lethbridge East. As you all know, over the past few years, Alberta has witnessed record population growth. Cities and towns across the province are growing. We know that to be true in our biggest cities, but it's also true for mid-sized cities like Lethbridge. It is no surprise why folks are choosing to move to Alberta. With its low tax economy, affordable advantage, beautiful vistas, and some of the friendliest people on earth, Alberta is a great place to work, raise a family, and retire. And Alberta's government has responded. Over the next 3 years, our government is investing $25 billion through the 2024 capital plan to build, renew, or maintain schools, post-secondary institutions, affordable housing, health facilities, water and wastewater treatment centers, cultural and recreational facilities, roads, and bridges. We recently announced an $8.6 billion school construction commitment to fund up to 114 more school projects and additional modular classrooms, which will help us create more than 200,000 new and modernized spaces in the next 7 years. And together with our partners, Alberta's government is supporting $9 billion in investments into affordable housing to support 25,000 additional low-income households by 2031. And the private sector is responding as well. Alberta is building the homes Albertans need as quickly as possible. From January to September, we have seen over 33,500 new homes under construction. That is a 35% increase over last year. But with rapid population growth also comes pressure on public infrastructure such as roads, bridges, water treatment systems, public transit, and more infrastructure in many Alberta municipalities. We've heard from municipalities that something is needed to help keep up with this growth and to capitalize on the economic potential that comes with it. That's why today we're launching the Local Growth and Sustainability Grant, LGSG, because we love acronyms in government, that will provide $60 million over 3 years to help some Alberta communities manage population growth pressures on public infrastructure. Budget 2024 introduced this grant to help communities facing these challenges. Meetings with municipal groups like Alberta Municipalities, Rural Municipalities of Alberta, and some mid-sized cities like Lethbridge have helped us work out the details. The funds will be allocated using a competitive application process, which will be open to communities with populations between 10,000 and 200,000, what is known as the growth component of the grant. Applications for that part of the grant are open today to communities of that size. The grant program also has a sustainability component, and some of this funding will be set aside to assist communities with fewer than 10,000 people if they face an infrastructure challenge leading to pressing health and safety issues for citizens. This program is not meant to be a magic bullet. It won't fix all municipal funding issues, but it does help us respond directly to the types of things that municipalities, particularly mid-sized municipalities in Alberta, but all towns, cities, and villages have said is required. And it's meant to complement the existing infrastructure funding programs that are already in place, including the local government fiscal framework that is providing over $820 million next year, an increase of 13% from this year. And the Canada Community Building Fund that is directly helping municipalities through $265 million from the federal government this year, and we thank our federal partners for their participation in that and their support. Our government recognizes the pressures that Alberta municipalities are facing, and we are doing what we can to help. We recognize that the LGSG will not be a silver bullet or a solution to all the infrastructure problems, but it is indeed, we believe, a step in the right direction, in the direction that municipalities have asked us to go. So I'm looking forward to seeing the projects that these dollars will support and ongoing benefits they'll bring to Albertans and our mid-sized communities. I thank you for being here today to join us, and I'm happy to take questions afterwards, but I think the mayor has a few words to say to you now, and it's certainly my honor to make way for Mayor Higgin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Minister, and thank you very much, Mr. Neudorf, for being here today. We had the opportunity of meeting with the ministry and the caucus that have come down, the Premier, over lunch yesterday, and it was great to be able to share some of the struggles that we're having within our community, and hearing the announcement today with this LGSG grant funding. Again, the acronyms, we just love those. And what that's going to do for our community. We can't thank the government enough for this particular grant funding, and for them to be down and to listen to our council and have us share the concerns that we have within our community. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I do want to mention that I do have some of my colleagues here, Councillor Middleton Hope, Councillor Croson, Councillor Schmidt-Rempel, and Councillor Palladino. Thank you so much for being here as well, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Higgin. Appreciate you being here today. And just a terrific announcement for Lethbridge. Thank you very much, Minister McIver. You're doing some great work, and it's just really important for Alberta's mid-sized cities to be recognized for the contribution and the concerns that they carry for so many citizens. We are experiencing tremendous growth all across Alberta, and Lethbridge is no exception. And it's easy to see why. Lethbridge is a wonderful place to live, work, raise a family, and enjoy the outdoors, even when it snows. I've lived here for many years, and I'm proud to call Lethbridge home. With the growing population, there's an increased demand on public infrastructure, and that's why today's announcement is so crucial and important. It gives extra support to some of our communities experiencing significant growth, and it will allow communities to capitalize on economic development that opportunities including support for new industrial and commercial development. Opportunities that will only serve Alberta's communities in the long run and provide benefits above and beyond the new grant program. Aside from this grant, I'm proud of our work our government is doing on education, healthcare, and housing to support our growing population. This includes funding for 4 school projects here in Lethbridge and expanding services and surgical capacity at the Chinook Regional Hospital, as well as medical training for doctors right at our own university. I'd like to thank Minister McIver for taking the time to join us and visit Lethbridge, and Mayor Higgin for joining us today. And now I'll turn it back to Minister McIver to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. We'll turn to questions from the media now. We'll start with reporters here in the room, and then we'll move to any questions that we have on the phone lines. If you could please state your name and your outlet. We'll do one question, one follow-up, and if you could just raise your hand if you have a question, that would be great. Any questions? Go ahead.
We'll stay right there with CBC for Lethbridge. My question for you is just, you mentioned that you heard a lot of different concerns from municipalities, but what are more specifically some of those issues that are pressing there? Do you think this funding can address?
Well, listen, we asked municipalities to step up and create economic activity to provide investment, growth, jobs for Albertans, and they've really done that. But sometimes when municipalities do that and do great things for their municipality that way, it does create other issues. For instance, sometimes the water treatment plant doesn't have enough capacity. Sometimes the sewage treatment plant. Sometimes there might be a road or an intersection that needs to be improved in order for a new business or a new job opportunity to happen. And this, what we're announcing today, is intended to help with that. We don't want to overstate it. No part of us thinks this is going to be the answer to all the problems, but we do think this is a step in the right direction. And I have challenged municipalities, and I'm sure they'll answer the challenge. I says, with the amount of money we have over the next 3 years with this program, if the municipalities can deliver great examples of how this has made a big difference, puts me in a better position as their advocate within government to ask for more funding in future years.
Do you have a follow-up?
Oh, thank you. And then just to follow up, you mentioned the funds will be available through a competitive grant process. What's the reason for that, and is there any worry that maybe, in that process, like how are you factoring for people or municipalities not missing out?
Well, listen, this isn't about pitting municipalities against each other, but the fact is, we're not overstating, it's $20 million. And there's 330 municipalities roughly in Alberta. And I say roughly because there's a couple in the midst of 2 municipalities becoming one. So depending on what day it is, that number can change just a little bit. But the fact is, though, municipalities in Alberta have a wide variety of needs. I have no doubt what we're offering will be oversubscribed. And so it is a competitive process, and the municipalities know that, and again, we've challenged them to really be able to provide a big difference for a reasonable amount of money, and we'll have to evaluate the applications. And again, it's not about pitting one municipality against the other, it's about getting the best value that we can for the taxpayer dollars while still supporting our amazing municipalities that are doing great work to bring in jobs and investment and opportunities for Albertans.
Quinn Keenan, CTV News. Just wondering if the province has any sort of guidelines on which projects may be eligible for this grant as opposed to some that might not be eligible?
Well, the application process will be out today. And not to, I don't have the application memorized, sorry. Fact is that's the guideline when the municipalities see the application process, and they know because they've asked us about it, and they're all, I think several are championing at the bit to be able to put in an application, but they know it's about supporting growth, economic activity, and sustainability for municipalities, and you know what, our municipalities are quite good at what they do, and I'm sure we're going to see a bunch of amazing applications, and probably we're going to have some difficult choices to make.
And is there any ballpark estimate for how many municipalities would benefit from this, or how many grants would be awarded over the lifespan of this program?
It's $20 million a year. I'm sure it'll be oversubscribed, probably by a lot. And I guess that question will answer itself in real time as projects are chosen. So that the answer to your question is a good one, but the answer doesn't exist yet. It will evolve as we look at the different applications and decide which ones we can fund.
Justin, Civic Global News. You said a few times this isn't a silver bullet or it's not the answer to all problems. So what other pieces of the puzzle still need to, I guess, be put in to get to a point where everybody's really happy? Everybody really happy. Boy, that'll be a bright, shining day I'd like to see. I don't think I'll ever see it. But let me say this, that municipalities are very creative and resourceful, even with their limited resources. So they'll do the best they can. Our government's doing the best we can. And together, if we work together and communicate well, that's our best chance of having the most success we can, even if not everybody will be happy all the time. And then just to follow up then, how come we came on the $20 million per year? Like what was that in that number?
I asked for more. But sometimes when you go to Treasury Board as a minister, you don't get everything you ask for.
Hi, Landon Hickok with Bridge City News. I just want to ask, was there an idea about the grants of municipalities that were beginning, if there were like different funds for different fields, like numbers for those fields that are readily available, or is that strictly up to the municipalities themselves?
Well, we have a lot of funding programs for municipalities. They routinely say it's not enough. Okay, in my remarks, I talked about our main municipal affairs funding program, was the local government fiscal framework, $820 million next year. And again, the federal Canada Community Building Fund, which is that I think in my remarks at $265 million or something. There's different funding streams for municipalities through transportation, for roads, bridges, wastewater, and water treatment programs, and a bunch of other economic development opportunities, some of which municipalities can deal with. So we have I'd say a fairly robust group of funding opportunities for municipalities, and yet municipalities telling me every single time I see them it's not enough. So working together with them, our job, and their job too, is to make sure that with the funding that we can put together and can offer them, that we get the best results for Albertans that we can. We know municipalities that do a great job answering the bell, and our government will try to be there with them, getting the best results we can.
No other questions in the room. We'll move to the phones now. Operator, can we get our first caller, please?
The first question is from Jonathan Bradley from Western Standard. Please go ahead.
Hello, Minister McIver. Thank you for taking my question. You spoke about multiple municipalities experiencing struggles from population growth through various factors. How much do you blame the Canadian government's current immigration policy for this unsustainable population growth?
We don't really want to pick a fight with the Canadian government, but the fact is their immigration numbers have increased dramatically over the last 2 or 3 years. Up to, I think it was over north of 1 million people a year, and the old number. Now, I stand to be corrected on this, but it seems to me it was around 300,000. So it's a pretty big. And if I'm wrong about that, I'm happy to be corrected. But the fact is, they've dramatically increase the amount of immigration. In my opinion, we should all be pro-immigration. For goodness sakes, my family arrived in this country in 1890s, at least in other parts of my family. So most of us here are immigrants, if not first generation, second, third, or fourth. So I think we should all be pro-immigration, but immigration needs to be well orchestrated, well planned, well executed, and there was not enough of that with the rapid growth that the federal government put in place. They didn't really anticipate the housing, the schools, the hospitals, the roads, the social services, everything that all people need, and so that's something we'll have to keep working with them on. So to blame the federal government, they certainly carry some responsibility, but they have a job to do to deal with that, and our government has a job to do to deal with people that come here. We're all aware that we have an Alberta's Calling program where we've invited people to come here, so we have a responsibility too to look after people and put those infrastructure and other supports in place. So it's a shared responsibility. I'm not sure I'd use the word blame, but the federal government probably could have planned the rapid expansion of immigration a little bit better than they did.
Do you have a follow-up?
Oh, yes. So while the Canadian government is responsible for, has a sizable portion of responsibility for immigration, it is a shared jurisdiction with the provinces. What would you like to see? What policies will you be carrying out to reduce the number of immigrants coming to Alberta, similar to, like Quebec, for example, has been able to scale back numbers? What would you like to see? What policies should be implemented to respond to that, to high immigration numbers provincially?
Again, I think we should all be pro-immigration, but well-planned, well-orchestrated, well-financed immigration, which isn't exactly what we have right now. But we'll continue to do our best as a province. We'll continue to advocate for the federal government to better fund the immigration that they have allowed, and it's an ongoing issue. But it's and you mentioned Quebec. It's certainly no secret that our government is, to a certain degree, tried to learn from Quebec's success within Confederation of having more control over what happens within their province, and our government, through mechanisms like Bill 18, are doing our best to control as many things within Alberta as we can, so that we can do a good job for our citizens, and we'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to advocate for the federal government to do a good job when they bring people in as well.
Operator, can we get our next caller, please?
The next question is from Catherine Grozowski, Alberta Today. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. So at the risk of being repetitive, the Rural Municipalities of Alberta has released a series of reports on infrastructure deficits. They're looking at bridges, $2.29 billion just in rural Alberta, roads, $11.99 billion just in rural Alberta, utility infrastructure such as wastewater, $2.96 billion of infrastructure deficit. I'm wondering, as you're going to Treasury Board looking for some more money, are you looking at any additional funding in these areas specific to address the infrastructure deficit?
That's a great question, and I will say to you that hopefully it doesn't surprise anybody that we have an annual budget process, and every single year I and other ministers responsible for the funding programs go to Treasury Board with our requests. They have limited resources too, so we don't always get what we want. But as I always tell Mayor Higgin and other municipal leaders, the best thing you can do is tell us what you need. It actually, as much as it make some people think, well, you're just, bagging out the government. The fact is, it actually puts me and other ministers in a good position when we go to Treasury Board to say, this is what the municipalities have told us they need. We believe them. This is what we'd like to have for our programs for the upcoming year. And we usually don't get everything we want, but we're in a better position to ask, and we can ask in a more effective and thoughtful way when we listen to municipalities and pass on their genuine concerns within government, so that we can get as many resources into the hands of our partners as we can.
And as a follow-up, you're announcing this new funding stream today. Is there any review of this new local government fiscal framework? Is it working as intended? Why did you need to bring in this program after creating this new funding stream?
The local government fiscal framework is actually something we're really proud of, and because it is truly a partnership between our government and municipalities in Alberta. I mean, myself, I spent 9 years on a municipal council, and what we always said is we want to be part of the team. We want to share in the benefits from provincial revenue, and we're willing to live with the downside of provincial revenue. And even though I haven't been on a municipal council for over a decade, the municipality still said that. So they basically, the local government fiscal framework is an example of our government saying yes. Because within the revenue that goes to municipality goes up with provincial revenue, goes down with provincial revenue. It's what municipalities ask for. Now they want more. Okay, I give you that, but the fact is they asked to be on the revenue roller coaster, if you will, with us. They said because over an average of 10 years, typically the provincial revenue goes up, and municipalities said if your revenue goes up, we want ours to go up also. Through the LGFF, our government said yes. And that's what's happening. So while it's not perfect, we sure feel good about that. And it's truly probably one of the best examples of a real partnership between the government of Alberta and our many municipalities when we said, yes, the main funding stream that we have for you will go up and down with our revenue as you have asked for. So, yeah, we feel good about that.
I'll do a final pass through the room. Is there any final questions? Go ahead.
I'm just wondering if there's any significance of making this announcement in Lethbridge with the by-election looming around the corner.
Well, we're here. We've got a caucus retreat for a couple days talking about planning before the next session of the legislature. Certainly, Lethbridge is a municipality that's worked with us well and been, I think we've been successful in working with them. There's been some pretty, with the support of MLA Minister Neudorf and Mayor Higgin and his council, that there's been some great economic development expansions go on here in the last few years. And so this is a great place to make the announcement because there's a real example of where, well, it's never perfect. I think we've had a pretty good working relationship with the municipality and somewhat successful in terms of economic expansion.
Okay, we actually have 2 more callers on the phone, so operator, can we get our next caller, please?
The next question is from Emmanuel Prince from Radio Canada. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. So I see that there's a population requirement for the grant program, but is there a population growth rate requirement? Like, how can you make sure that this money goes to the municipalities that actually need it the most related to growth?
Well, it's really targeted at some of the high growth municipalities, and the range between 10,000 and 200,000, I think you would agree with me, is a pretty wide range. It's not everybody, all Alberta municipalities, but it's a wide range of them, and it's really meant to capture some of the faster growing municipalities and the more major economic development opportunities as a percentage compared to the size of the municipality. So, you know what, we put program criteria in place according to what we think is the best. We feel good about this, and sure, if somebody tries hard enough, they'll find some example where it could have been municipality starting at 5,000 or maybe cutting it off 150,000, whatever it happens to be. But the fact is, we worked with municipalities. We tried to listen to them. We put a new support program in place for when they have growth opportunities and when they just need help with sustainability. And the municipalities seem excited about it. So that's a pretty good clue for me that I should feel at least a little bit happy about it, and I do.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yep. And you mentioned there's many different funding programs for municipalities. I guess what makes this one special or different from the other ones?
Well, it's actually another example of one of the things municipalities ask for. Okay, and if you ask municipalities, they'd say we want a lot more money. Okay, that's true, but the fact is, one of the things they said, well, you asked us to go out and
get new economic development opportunities and new investment for new jobs for our citizens. We've done that. What are you going to do to help? So this is an example of us saying, well, this is one way we can help. And again, I challenge municipalities, and I'm sure they'll answer in spades that they're going to go out and try to do some impressive amounts of good with the limited amount of money that's in the program. And I can't wait to see what I think will be a really great group of applications from very effective municipalities who are trying to grow their economy and provide infrastructure for their citizens.
Operator, can we get our next caller, please?
The next question is from Lisa Johnson from Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. I'm also wondering about the by-election. Obviously, the Premier and other ministers are door knocking in Lethbridge West. I'm wondering, if you could just offer some insight into the timing around this. I mean, why is the government essentially campaigning but not officially calling the by-election?
Well, you shouldn't be surprised that politicians practice politics from time to time. That's what's going on. No one should be surprised by that. That's what politicians do. They practice politics. And sometimes that means going out and door knocking and supporting each other. So that's a pretty normal day, I'd say.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I guess I'm hoping to understand when the by-election might officially be called, but also the local NDP candidate has, noted that candidates have been in place for weeks and the people of Lethbridge West don't have any representation. Why is the government okay with Lethbridge West not having any representation in the legislature this fall?
I think the citizens of Lethbridge West have amazing representation through MLA Neudorf, and they should be very happy about that. But the fact is, there's a seat empty, and when the Premier thinks the time is right, she'll call a by-election, and then we'll have two representatives for Lethbridge again.
Okay, that's it for our questions today. Thank you so much for joining, and a reminder that the news release for this announcement is now posted online. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.